I grew up in a house that was always too quiet for its size. A wide wooden staircase stood at the center, the kind that creaked if you dared tiptoe after dark. My parents rarely spoke to each other, and when they did, it was clipped, efficient. The real conversations lived in the pauses, in the way my mother's hand shook as she folded laundry, or the way my father avoided the dining room altogether. It wasn't until I was 17 that I started noticing small things out of place. A locked drawer in the study suddenly standing open. Letters burned in the fireplace though we hadn't used it in months. A silver locket on the kitchen counter that I had never seen my mother wear. Each clue seemed to dissolve before I could connect them, leaving me restless. One evening, while everyone else was asleep, I walked into the attic. The door should have been locked. It always had been. Inside, the air smelled of cedar and dust. Old trunks lined the wall. But what caught my eye was a small cradle pushed against the far corner. A cradle with a name carved into the wood. A name I recognized as my own. The next morning, I confronted my mother. She went pale, sat me down, and for the first time in my life, spoke without restraint. Before I was born, she had lost a child. A girl with the same name she later gave me. They buried her quietly, never telling anyone outside the family. My father wanted to erase the memory, but my mother could not let go. So she kept pieces of that first life hidden. The locket, the letters, the cradle. Suddenly, the silences in the house made sense. They weren't about anger or indifference. They were about grief that had no language. A sorrow so deep it filled every room like invisible smoke. I think back to that attic often, to the cradle that belonged to someone who never had the chance to breathe. And I realize now that sometimes the loudest parts of a family are the things that remain unspoken.